I mean, we're excited to come here. I mean, it's the 24-hour thing is not a big deal. It's just places, things have to fall into place. I think football has taught me to slow things down, enjoy the experience instead of being like, what's going on? It's a hurricane. But it's been a little bit of that. There's some really good people. One of my best friends in the world is Rick Treadway, who I hired from here to go to Little Rock to coach. And it says a lot about the town because he's like, you got to go check that place out. So, and the people have been awesome so far, and I got to meet the coaches today. So, looking forward to the next step.
I know there were some rumors and rumblings of last summer and maybe taking a job. I guess why now? Why this school? Why is this kind of the opportunity that made you say yes?
A couple things really. My son and a couple business partners and I started a business in Little Rock called Kid Champion. I got the shirt on underneath this when I look down. But we started a business called Kid Champion, and it just wasn't right. There wasn't the right time yet. And now's the chance. My son knows how to run it. I can still do some things there. And I love working with 2 to 10-year-olds. That's the age group there, and 55 and ups. But I love coaching football, and I love players, and I love a group of men working towards a common cause. And so, it's been calling me for a while to come back. And I did some time, really stepped back away from the game and worked with some colleges and some pro coaches and some high school guys and did some stuff. And it was the time just felt right. And a lot of prayer and thought processing, and here we are.
Yeah, we see at the PA games, it looked like, you were kind of itching. You were glad to be there, but almost like you wanted to be coaching too. When did you kind of feel the itch more this year?
Oh, no, I mean, and I say that. Some guys decide when their coaching days are up, but, I'm done, I don't want to do it. I always thought I'd coach till I was 100, if I live, however long I live, just because I love it. And, when I went to those games at PA, I was there to support Coach Lucas and Coach DePriest, Coach Taylor. Those guys had been with me for a long time. I wasn't itching to coach then. I was there to support them. And then I got to do some live stream for PA and enjoyed calling, and I thought, this is fun too. But basically what I figured out is if I'm around football, I'm happy. And so I never stopped wanting to coach. It's just the time and what I wanted to do, and really just to enjoy a normal life. I'd never sat down in like 25 years and had, daily dinners with my wife and spent time with my family, and they're a little older now, but to be able to do that was an awesome blessing, and I'm a guy that's been blessed way beyond what I'll ever deserve in life, and, this is the next step in that blessing process.
2 winning seasons since 2000. Is that?
What's winning mean?
Well,
6-4?
winning record, yeah.
So over 500?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you look at that as a challenge? Some people thought they were a little surprised that you take over a program like that.
Honestly, people are talking to me about Sheridan, and they're talking about, why would you take over that program? And, you get different people with different thoughts and viewpoints, and, I like the challenge of building things, and I want to be a part of something, and this was an opportunity for me to take a place that maybe, from what I hear from people who've been around town, not sure they can find a way to win here because, like you said, it's been a while. And I like that challenge. I like that opportunity. I think everybody can. I think a little differently about football, so we'll see if those two things mesh together. What I'm hoping for is I'm hoping that everybody gives a new coach. I know you've had a few in the last few years, but a new coach, a new chance with an open mind and watch a different brand of football and see if that helps, motivate the guys to think a little differently off the field, but think a little differently on the field. We've got to my understanding, there's some great guys here on staff and players, and I've got one of the greatest men in the world coming with me, and Adam DePriest, and that in itself gives us an advantage. If you can start fresh and bottle that up, work on it, and keep it till the season starts, I think you've got a chance to do things that you didn't think were possible.
You had a lot of continuity at PA with the younger kids. You feel like you can do that here and still your offense and all that, 5th and 6th grade, and like you did at PA with that type of thing?
I think that if you want to truly build a program, I think you have to build it from the lowest levels of football up. That's crucial because, they need the same nomenclature that you're using. They need to understand what the process is. They need to understand what you're wanting to do on the field. What's the purpose of this play? What's the purpose of this defense? And you do that by doing those same things from the time you're in 5th grade all the way up. And if you're doing those things, the thing you sacrifice is maybe you'd lose a 5th grade game, you wouldn't. Maybe you lose a 7th grade game, you wouldn't. But isn't the ultimate goal to win a state championship? And I know that sounds crazy saying that here. When they haven't, I heard, I don't know if that's true, they haven't won a playoff game in 40 years. I had a gentleman upstairs tell me that. And, but it's that's the goal, is to go to a state championship game and win a state championship. That's always been my goal wherever I've been. Is it crazy to say? Maybe right now, but I think if you can get people to buy in, get people to believe, and you build the program from 5th grade all the way up, I think you got a far better chance if everybody's doing the same thing for 7 years than if you wait till, they're in 10th grade to start that program.
I'm sure plenty of people are curious of kind of how similar, I know it's very early to kind of have it settled, but the schemes and the punts and the kicks and all of that, how similar kind of what you're putting out there next August is going to look like to those, those PA teams. How much has that kind of changed over the last few years of what you think you want to do at the high school level?
Going through 18 years as a head coach, and you start thinking one way and you develop into something else and you morph and you develop. And what I tried to do was base everything on things that matter about winning football games the most. And 77% of the time, the team that has the most quarterback sacks win games. That means don't take a sack and go blitz on defense. And it's whoever has the most 20-yard plays win like 81% of the time. That means design your offense, not necessarily to run for 5 yards, but to have 20-yard explosive plays. There's reasons behind that, but those things are not going to change. There's some things that are staples that I picked up in 2014 at a very fortunate place I was, and I morphed those into the system, and you're playing a numbers game, and you're playing the right way, taking more emotion out of it. The way I plan on looking here is the way we looked when I left PA, and nothing's changed about that. I think that's the right way to play the game. It gives you the best advantage. Now, because only one team is going to be the biggest, fastest, strongest team. And if you play normal football, that's the team that's going to win, usually, in that game. Not always, but usually. And I think if you want a chance to compete every year in every game, if you can do something different that makes sense, and you practice hard, work hard, and buy in, I think you got a chance to win every game. And that's what you want, and then we'll play harder than everybody else and see how it turns out.
What do you think it's going to be like, when you were coaching there, you had guys that were already working on onside kicks and stuff. You're going to have to start from scratch with all that. How do you think that's going to be, trying to teach those guys some of those concepts and stuff?
You're talking about onside kicks. You're talking about the different philosophies and different things. There's some skill things to some of those things. But that's where teaching comes in. I think coaches, I'm not crucifying coaches. I am a coach. I love coaches. I think they make impacts. I think they do teach things to do things that they didn't think were possible to do. But we need to be better teachers. And that's what this comes down to. We're going to have to be really good teachers really fast to put in some of the complex things we want to do. And kicking an onside kick is a skill, just like throwing, just like catching, just like shooting a basketball, just like hitting a baseball. And if we want to be effective at them, we better be good teachers, because you're right, the time is of the essence, so to speak. But I think kids, when they put their mind to something, if they really put their mind to it, they can accomplish way more than an adult can in the same time period. I'm watching it every day at my place at Kid Champion with younger kids, and I've watched it on the football field all the time for years. Kids make to amaze me that they do things that I didn't think they could do.
How do you identify, who might be the best at doing that? With PA, how did you audition that and stuff?
When it comes to the onside kick thing, and I'm a big fan, obviously, of onside kicks. I think they change games. Our record when we got an onside kick was astronomically good. But when we got one, we won the game to the point where I really impressed that upon the kids, because then when it's all said and done, when we get an onside kick, they're like, oh wait, we won. Our record is 124-2. We win this game. And that's what you want. It gives them confidence. But wait, for onside kicks, it's not hard. Everybody that wants to try onside kicks one day, we let them kick them. Some people are just naturally good, not at kicking a football, but kicking in the exact spot I want them to kick it in. If you kick the ball in a certain spot, it does a certain thing. And there's a lot of different things a football does, because it's not round like a basketball. It doesn't bounce up perfectly. If you can get the tip of that ball to hit at a certain angle while it's rotating a certain way, the ball does crazy stuff. Some people are naturally gifted, so we just put as many guys out there, and usually at first nobody wants to be the onside kicker. After a couple of weeks, everybody wants to be the onside kicker because you're kind of a rock star. And if you watch the show Overtime that was on YouTube, watch the show Coach That Never Punts on Overtime. It's a YouTube TV series kind of a thing. My best kicker I've ever had was a soccer girl. And I coached her older brothers. I saw her out there kicking a soccer ball one day, and she was bending it like Beckham, right? You know, kicking it, making it do all kinds of things. I'm like, she can put her foot where we want her to on that ball. She's one of the best kickers, if not the best kicker I've ever had. So you never know. It might be a lineman. It might be the quarterback. It might be a linebacker. It might be somebody that plays soccer. But somebody can put the foot where they need to put it and make the ball go the way we need it to go.